The year was 1927. The sea was restless, its waves cutting against the bow of a sturdy merchant ship named the Marigold. It had set sail from Halifax, carrying a small crew of seasoned sailors and cargo meant for distant shores. At the time, no one thought twice about such a voyage. Ships vanished now and then, swallowed by storms or claimed by accidents. But the Marigold would become different, a name whispered in seafaring legends. The ship's journey began like countless others. The crew sang songs on deck, the captain plotted courses with precision, and the gulls followed them far into open waters. They were weeks from home when the first signs of trouble emerged. A storm gathered on the horizon, darker and heavier than any they had seen before. The ocean churned as though it was alive, swallowing the sky in black clouds. As the storm struck, the ship fought to hold itself together. The masts groaned, sails ripped like paper, and waves rose higher than the tallest buildings. Lightning illuminated faces marked with fear, and the crew clung to ropes and railings, hoping to outlast nature's fury. But when dawn finally came, there was no sign of the Marigold. It had vanished into the depths, leaving nothing but silence and sorrow. News of the disappearance spread quickly. Families mourned, assuming their loved ones lost forever. The shipping company marked the vessel as destroyed, its records closed, its journey ended. For decades, the story of the Marigold became a tale of caution told in harbors and ports. Sailors would lower their voices, saying the ship had sailed into the gray waters, a place where the ocean itself took what it wanted and never gave it back. Time moved on. Children of the crew grew into adults, then aged into grandparents. The world changed. Wars erupted and ended, machines replaced sails, and aircraft crossed the skies faster than ships could ever dream. By then, the Marigold was a forgotten shadow, her name etched only in fading family memories. But the ocean has its secrets, and some refuse to stay hidden. 90 years after that storm, a freighter traveling a routine path across the Atlantic picked up a strange radar signal. A drifting object floated in open water, far from any shipping lane. At first, the crew expected wreckage or debris, but as they drew closer, their binoculars revealed the impossible. An intact vessel, its wooden frame weathered but strong, its sails tattered yet recognizable. Painted across its hull, in letters nearly erased by time, was the name, the Marigold. The ship that had disappeared in 1927 was back. No bodies, no signs of life, just a vessel adrift, as if it had returned from a journey no one could explain. The ocean had given it back, but the mystery was only beginning. The freighter's crew could hardly believe what they saw. Against the rolling blue of the modern Atlantic, the Marigold drifted like a ghost from another world. Its wooden hull was darkened by time, its sails shredded, yet the structure remained astonishingly intact. The freighter's captain reported the find, and soon the story reached authorities and news agencies. A salvage team was dispatched, eager to uncover what secrets a ship lost for 90 years might hold. When they boarded, the silence was overwhelming. The deck creaked under their boots, but there was no trace of life, no crew, no remains, not even signs of struggle. Dust and salt coated every surface. It was as if the sailors had vanished in an instant, leaving their world frozen in time. Below deck, the air was heavy, filled with the scent of wood and ocean rot. In the captain's cabin, they found a logbook, its pages miraculously preserved in a sealed chest. The last entry was dated the night before the great storm of 1927. It spoke of black skies, violent waves, and the crew preparing for the worst. Then, abruptly, the entries stopped. But stranger discoveries followed. In the galley, plates still rested on tables, as if abandoned mid-meal. Tools lay scattered in the engine room, left half-used. A child's toy, a small carved boat, sat neatly in one of the bunks, untouched by decay. Every detail suggested life had been interrupted suddenly, as though the crew had simply vanished into thin air. Scientists and historians debated endlessly. Some believed the ship had drifted for decades, carried by hidden currents, preserved by chance. But experts quickly dismissed the idea. No vessel could endure 90 years on open seas without breaking apart. Its condition defied logic, almost as if it had been sheltered somewhere unseen, then released back into the world. Rumors grew quickly. Sailors whispered that the Marigold had slipped into another dimension, trapped in a place where time moved differently. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was taken by governments for secret experiments. Others spoke of curses, of the ship sailing into waters where the line between life and death blurred. The discovery made international headlines. Families of the lost crew were contacted, their descendants stunned by the return of a ship thought gone forever. For them, it was like a ghost from their bloodline had come back to knock on their door. But answers remained out of reach. As the salvage crew prepared to tow the Marigold to shore, a storm gathered once more. Dark clouds rolled in with unnatural speed, the sea rising and falling in restless waves. The captain of the freighter, uneasy with the timing, ordered his men to secure the vessel quickly. Yet even as they worked, the air felt charged, as if the ocean itself resented the disturbance. And then, in the middle of the storm, one of the salvage team reported something chilling. On the deck of the Marigold, he swore he saw movement, shadows of men, fleeting and silent, watching from the ruined sails. What they were about to uncover would push the boundary between legend and truth even further. The storm raged with a fury that mirrored the one described in the ship's century-old logbook. Waves battered both vessels, lightning split the sky, and the haunting silhouette of the Marigold loomed against the darkness. The salvage crew fought to hold their lines, but the ship resisted as though the sea itself sought to reclaim it. On the deck, men shouted above the thunder, reporting strange sights. Flickers of lantern light inside cabins, footsteps echoing though no one was there, and shadows of sailors moving just out of reach. Fear spread quickly, yet curiosity anchored them in place. For to abandon the ship now would mean losing the greatest maritime mystery ever found. In the captain's quarters, the logbook lay open once more. A salvage diver, drenched from the storm, swore he saw new words etched across the final page. They were faint, as if written by an unseen hand. The sea does not forget. We return only to remind panic gripped the crew. Some wanted to cut the tow line immediately, to let the ghost ship drift back into oblivion. Others argued that proof of such a discovery could change history. But before any decision could be made, a massive wave struck, breaking the line and sending the Marigold adrift once more. In the chaos, the vessel began to move, not with the wild sway of the storm, but with eerie precision, as though guided by an invisible hand. Its shattered sails filled with unnatural wind, pulling it further into the blackened sea. The men on the freighter could do nothing but watch as the ship that had returned after 90 years began to vanish again. For a moment, lightning illuminated the ocean, and every eye caught the same impossible sight. On the deck of the Marigold, dozens of figures stood, their faces pale, their uniforms drenched, staring silently into the storm. Their eyes did not hold malice, only a sorrow too deep to name. Then, just as suddenly, the storm consumed the ship, and it was gone. When dawn broke, calm returned to the sea. No wreckage floated, no trace of the Marigold remained. Only the logbook, somehow left behind on the freighter's deck, survived the night. Scientists later studied it, baffled, but none could explain the shifting ink or the final message. In time, the story spread across the world, sparking new legends of ghost ships and cursed waters. Some dismissed it as myth, others swore it was proof of mysteries yet unexplained. But those who had been there never doubted what they had seen. They knew the truth. The Marigold had not simply been lost. It had been taken, kept in the grasp of something greater than time, and returned only for a fleeting moment to remind humanity that the sea keeps its secrets. And somewhere, beyond the reach of man, the ship and its crew sailed on, forever caught between the living and the forgotten.